It is now in order to consider amendment number 45, printed in Part A of House Report 118-602. And for what purpose does the gentleman from Pennsylvania seek recognition?
Madam Speaker, I have an amendment at the desk.
The clerk will designate the amendment.
Amendment number 45, printed in Part A of House Report number 118-602, offered by Mr. Perry of Pennsylvania.
Pursuant to House Resolution 1370, the gentleman from Pennsylvania, Mr. Perry, and a member opposed will each control 5 minutes. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Pennsylvania.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This amendment cuts $35 million from this bill for the Appalachian Regional Commission, lowering the funding level in this bill to $165 million. Now, the IIJA provided the Appalachian Regional Commission with an advanced appropriation of $200 million every single year. The entirety of its authorization level for FY 22 through 26, meaning every dollar provided under this bill is more than the authorized level. This Congress said this is the level you can spend at. We're spending way above that. In other words, under this amendment, the ARC would still receive $365 million for the fiscal year rather than $400 million provided by the underlying bill. Even with this minimal cut under this amendment, the program's funding is extremely and still extremely bloated, and its effectiveness remains unclear. It doesn't really remain unclear. It's unknown completely. I know I sat in and presided over the hearing regarding this commission and all the commissions, where they literally, the metric they used to determine success was, we get loan applications. People want to receive loans and grants. That's their measure of success. Now, where I live in Pennsylvania, the Appalachian Trail comes right through the district, and people in Appalachia certainly sorely need help, but they don't need a bunch of throwaway things from contractors outside of their area coming in to make a bunch of money off the government and leave them with whatever's left over. This commission's programs are duplicative of other federal economic development programs and are better addressed at the state and local levels where those states know exactly what is needed. In fact, the FY18 budget justification identified the Appalachian Regional Commission failed to show a strong link between grants and a positive impact on the community they serve. They're giving out money, but they can't justify any of it through metrics, through any performance evaluation whatsoever. I reserve.
Gentleman reserves. For what purpose does the gentleman from Tennessee rise?
Mr. Chairman, I claim time in opposition.
The gentleman is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, this amendment would cut funding for the Appalachian Regional Commission, which supports hundreds of cost-shared projects partnering with private industry to bring needed jobs to this depressed region. The underlying energy and water bill maintains funding for the ARC at the fiscal year 2024 level of $200 million, which was the same as the fiscal 2023 enacted level. These communities cannot afford to lose the millions of dollars in private investment this commission leverages. I respectfully urge a no vote on the amendment, and I reserve the balance of my time.
The gentleman reserves. The gentleman from Pennsylvania is recognized.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. That all might be well and good, but last year the Commission's Inspector General, not Perry, not this Congress, the Inspector General identified the massive increase in the Commission's funding over recent years as a threat to its ability to evaluate grant proposals, measure program performance, and conduct appropriate oversight, meaning this spike in funding threatens to worsen an already tenuous link between funding and success. Mr. Speaker, these commissions are populated by the politically connected to hand out money to those who are connected to them. That's what they're for. That's what they do. They don't do much else than that, and there's certainly no measure of success. Again, I presided over the hearing where we asked them for their metric, their measure of success. And again, Mr. Speaker, it was that they received a lot of applications for grants and loans. That's your measure. People want money. That's your measure of success. That's pathetic. We certainly must bring the funding level for the ARC down to ensure that it has the capacity to ensure, if you are going to spend the money, look, I'm not getting rid of the commission. I'm just saying if you're going to spend the money, let's do it wisely and actually prove that it does something to help the people that you allegedly are helping, as opposed to the people that sit on the commission and dole out the tax dollars. With that, I reserve.
Gentleman reserves. The gentleman from Tennessee is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield to the gentleman from Kentucky, the distinguished Chair Emeritus of the Appropriations Committee, Mr. Rogers, for as much time as he may consume.
The gentleman is recognized.
I thank the gentleman for yielding time. I rise in strong opposition to this amendment. The Appalachian Regional Commission has been an invaluable partner for Appalachia since its inception, 1965. ARC investments have propelled our region forward, especially after the decline of the coal industry. Thanks to the ARC, the regional poverty rate has been cut by more than half. Additionally, the number of high poverty counties has been cut by more than 60%. In fact, in just the past year, the ARC has supported the creation or retention of over 50,000 jobs and served over 50,000 households with improved critical infrastructure. That's real, impactful economic development. Last year in Kentucky, the ARC supported 74 projects supporting nearly 900 jobs. Madam Chair, cutting off ARC funding back to the fiscal 19 levels will slow progress in our region when we need it most. We can't turn our back on Appalachia. Not now, not ever. I urge opposition to this amendment. I yield back.
Gentleman from Tennessee reserves. Gentleman yields back. Gentleman from Pennsylvania.
Mr. Speaker, can I inquire as to the time remaining?
Gentleman has 1 minute remaining.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker. So since 1965, which is a long time ago now, Mr. Chairman, say the poverty rate has been cut in half, but the general poverty rate across the country has been cut in half since 1965. The general rate. None of that can be attributed to the ARC. And by the way, the map that we had provided by the ARC at the hearing showed one county in all of the region, in all the states, had improved. One. This money is well above the, even, it's not a cut. It's because of the IIJA, it's well above what they were supposed to be appropriated. And everyone in here knows it. Everyone knows it. But they'll take the money anyhow. I urge adoption. I yield the balance.
Gentleman yields back.